Yeah, mi family una kushe una kaba una adu. This na Siakas TV, which we program Salon for Better. And me people as every week we dey bring una updates of things and waiting the happen at the country. And today we go bring somebody for una way at least we can analyze certain things that they go in the country concerning the economy, the human rights abuses, and a lot of things them way at least now post we don't they inside the system, the in and out of how for solve Sierra Leone problem. And this person follow no go far not to nobody, but to go bring gonna come the former presidential spokesman, we now Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay, we na person we know and not to refer, we know and say na a political scientist. Mr. Bayraytay, welcome to Siakas TV.
Thank you very much, Abdulai Mansare and your team. It's always a pleasure for I be part of our program.
Okay. Mr. Bayraytay, we know say we get a lot of things them way you get where you want to say here today, but if we say would they allow you, we go there all day, all night. But we just want to give you short time no more because I know say you self get other things and for do self get other. First of all, Mr. Bayraytay, the suspension where they suspend the Auditor General, Lara Taylor Pierce. I know say you be done inside the system for let somebody be a presidential spokesman and una run a country for complete 2 term. I believe say not the way I'd pay you in Sierra Leone, the in and out of Sierra Leone. And Mr. Bayraytay, this kind of decision where Mother Bio take and here in Cabal. If something like una be there in governance, una ever attempt if una not do, what do you think? What are the implication with them kind of thing there way Mother Bio and Cabal then do so to the Auditor General? You want to talk on that for we viewer and listener then know exactly what's in this trouble where it go cause to the country, sir?
Thank you very much. This is a very, very, very useful question you ask because even though the suspension of one highly respected Auditor Generals them now the sub-region, if not in Africa and the world, we happen for be Mrs. Lara Taylor Pierce. A lot of people and don't call and say waiting they go on Sierra Leone. People them where we be they interact with now the international community, they all they call and say what is happening in your country. Well, I always they say the actions of President Madabio, the first thing is we for condemn him outrightly. It's not good for a country, it's not a born good pick in our country. And me no go weigh in again into the legal ramifications. We already we don't see eminent lawyers them like then Charles Magai. Then don't come, then don't quote the specific relevant sections of we 1991 Constitution, where the president, of course, through the office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, then use section 119, we in section 9 of the Constitution, we give the president the power. But again, in that very section, they make them very clear when you come to section 137, subsection 5 of cap 6 of the 1991 Constitution say, the Auditor General in office, now like that of a judge. When you want for suspend or remove them, the first thing we they do, you get for consult first with the Judicial and Legal Service Commission of Sierra Leone. We now then get the power in the Constitution for constitute a tribunal, when a 3-man member, we go look into the activities. But we'll just go issue a very vague press release for say for performance issues and thereof. Lack of performance issues thereof. So me go look at waiting this get for do with good governance portfolio as a nation. When you go into the politics of sub-Saharan Africa, when you look at the causes of the conflicts, it get for do with the politics, it get for do with people not respecting the constitution, It get for do with people prolonging their stays in office. These combined, now they can provoke chaos in any country. And not to the first term this why we they call President Madabio out on them kind thing there. Because at the end of the day, you no one forgive excuse to anybody for circumvent the state, for let them go into chaos in the country. Because when you violate the constitution and you as a president, you take oath for say being the fountain of honor and the custodian of the constitution, you go execute the functions of the presidency to the best of your ability in confinement or consonant with the provisions of the Constitution. A member prior to the setting up of the Commission of Inquiries, the Sierra Leone Bar Association, members of other political parties, they all come. They say, you know what? Utilize Section 150 of the 1991 Constitution in establishing the COIs. The reason being, they give it legitimacy. But now you don't can suspend this woman. You don't use the due process of the law. You violate the constitution. Now, just that with country, with democracy, I can say it's a fledgling democracy. Because if now other countries you do that kind of thing there, by now people are going to take to the streets. People are for even very vociferously call for the impeachment proceedings of the president. But Sierra Leone, as I can say, we just a bio with democracy. But at the same time, I remember somebody we highly respected, a lawyer, when Ambassador Michael, when a member of the Judicial and Legal Commission of Sierra Leone, he end up for resign. He say because they no follow the due process for let they able for suspend Lara Telopias. And even Mother Bio, a former Attorney General, when Charles Magai, we happen to be a lawyer of no mean repute, in back don't come out very loudly and condemn the president in no uncertain terms for say, hey, your actions are not late yet. You've done something that are very pernicious. Come and reverse that decision day, pull your personal ego and focus on the constitutional provisions within our constitution. We be the expected after that good council day, President Biafra don't rescind that decision day. The whole world don't condemn that action day. I think say if I just don't do the needful, for say, okay, you know what? Me a human being are liable for make mistakes, or maybe then give me the wrong advice. Now that I don't go back, I don't revisit the constitution, I dey restore the status of the attorney and the auditor general, so that I will constitute the three-man committee, now the tribunal, where they advise me, I go able move on now constitutionally. But when that's not happen, the least I can say is it's not good for a country in democracy. It is set a very bad precedence, and at the same time, it get a tendency for promote chaos in our country, because we don't want for let we subvert. Over the years, I remember the Global Peace Index, they use all these parameters for say Sierra Leone, now one of the most peaceful countries in West Africa, in fact, within a third position. But all the things when it happen where you they abuse the constitution, it's not good for a country, particularly at a time. If I can talk on the time in Mr. Mansare and viewers them where they follow this program, the Millennium Challenge Corporation just don't can give we a 63rd to 63% pass say when it comes to respecting the rule of law, we are doing well as a country. Then in less than 48 hours, the president in action can reverse all the against them. And nothing say every meaning Sierra Leonean and friends of Sierra Leone, putting political or politics aside, go one thing kind thing they have for happen in our country. And nothing say they in the right trajectory, and nothing say it right. And every Sierra Leonean will come and condemn this, should not be perceived as an opponent of the state, but rather somebody with the exercise in civic responsibility to Sierra Leone as enshrined in Section 25, Cap 6 of the 1991 Constitution, will give it the right for speak up as long as it is within the confines of the law.
Thank you. Me people viewers there una with the view. This now we they talk to the Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay, the former spokesman, former presidential spokesman for the and it's by Kuruma government. And we can call on the political scientists and it gets things the way they talk on Yato today, and we they talk to directly from Canada. Mr. Bayraytay, Canada na Toronto ide?
Absolutely, I did Toronto.
Okay,
yes.
Toronto, Canada. Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Bayraytay, on all which you don't say, where would they look at the judiciary in Sierra Leone right now? Now, two decent people the way you call, where we don't highlight, then I can count one per the reckless one, then we go down. Where you talk about Charles Mackay, where and be the former Attorney General, then sack him because you know what encourage them for them reckless and dubious and criminal activity they wouldn't count na the country, then sack him. And then you talk about Basita Michael, where na side where then thief money, then call them binge humanity. I know say all inside they did and for them thief the country money. When you talk about the constitution and count COI, Commission of Inquiry, go bring people them from Nigeria where we own judge in our country, na Sierra Leone, then competent pass them. Then go bring them and can pay them free money. At the end of the day, for letting not give them findings, then send prostitutes to the one of the judge them, then go thief in computer for let they not give findings because they not get no facts on waiting and on. And also, then sack the Lara Taylor Pierce, where at least now the Auditor General. Because Mr. Bayraytay, wait till you look at this thing, because for them people since they come into governance, they don't begin abuse the constitution as they talk. Because like reckless Speaker of Parliament, Abbas Bundu, we say study constitutional law. We're not supposed for the way now APC way they fight against. Now Sheka Stephen can begin get work now make them see and Sierra Leone. Now it turn against it turn alligator. The way they men it turn it better than the eater. Now in the now as Speaker of the Parliament, they look all them then they turn the constitution up. In fact, they don't respect the constitution. And then you know if you say Mr. Bayraytay, you know if you say and the Africanist press, they don't pull a lot of things, them evidence, then they clean one. You know if you say now the damage where Mother Bio in West where chief almost $1 million, $3 million, and Mr. 1%, the former how them call and chief minister, me no one call and chief minister because chief Manele be chief. Where a chief 1.5, where them prosecutor instead now for go arrest that guy. And you know if you say now this 2020 audit report where one commutes, now make them suspend Lara Taylor Pierce because Boku trouble lady.
Well, in fact, this now part of the insensitivity of the government of the day. Because law not forget say in governance, you get what they call public opinion. Even though public opinion from a political science point of view not can always be right, but the timing of the suspension of Mrs. Lara Taylor Pierce it not go well at all for the government and the people of Sierra Leone. Because already a very reputable press like the Africanist press, where of course Chernobyl, whatever ways you label them, but for now it stand out as to be one of the most credible and reputable journalists them where Sierra Leone for be very proud of. Because at the end of the day, it not get nothing for benefit, it not get nothing for lose. It they do a national service for come out with very authentic documents backed with receipts. I can call them a very solid investigative journalist of our times. So if you want even suspend Lara Taylor Pierce, just the fact say in the next few months, if I come give an audit report as required by constitution, then before that they happen, you already you suspend them with a very lame reason of lack of professionalism and thereof or performance. I don't think say it go well down with Sierra Leoneans. Now that make the very government then don't use their young guns and shoot themselves now the foot. because now they don't generate into the conspiracy theories that now because of massive corruption of the government, massive misuse of government funds and facilities, because they capture that now the Auditor General in report, that perception say na that make them even pull Laratilo Pierce is very, very strong. Now that make I only wish, based on the admonition of some legal minds them when they don't give to the president. I remember when I listened to Charles Magai, he make one point clear. He say, you know what? As human beings, we can sometimes be misled. And sometimes when they be misled, it may not be intentional. Now that make it suggest say with president, if you attorney general and minister of justice don't advise you, go to other people them outside of government where they in that field where you trust, make them look at for give you what you call the alternative view, so that you no go misuse the constitution. And if you for don't do that due diligence day, 10 chances to 1, enough for don't issue that press release about the suspension of Lara Taylor Pierce. But again, the needful here is you for able for say, okay, you know what? I don't make mistake. The perception saying that because I may be found wanting in this audit report that make us suspend this woman, ma rescind, ma withdraw the suspension. When you withdraw, that not make you a weak leader. It makes you that you are somebody where they listen to the views and the voices of your people them. Because when we talk about democracy, it go beyond the traditional definition of democracy being a government of, by, and for the people. Now it make you get somebody like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, we come with the theory of the social contract. The social contract simply means we they vote you inside, but you not to an absolute monarch. Now it make we go to then call a constitutional provision. And if you rule beyond the mandates given you by the Constitution, your actions will be declared as ultra vires. And in that situation, when it happened, Parliament has the right to summon you, the president, and they can even commence impeachment proceedings. But again, I rewind what I mentioned initially, that our democracy is very fledgling. But you know what? I can even feel self-indictment for there I even accord to we self say we democracy is fledgling by virtue of the fact that we have political institutions. Until we strengthen those institutions, until we remove the political malfeasance into those political institutions, so that they go able to stand out, like waiting Basita Michael say, me na a member of the Judicial and Legal Commission Council of Sierra Leone. But the fact say they not follow the due process for suspend the Auditor General, he say in the resign. The fact say he even resign, he come out, that don't tell you say yes. Now somebody where they put the country in interest before. So this is where we expect say when President Mada Bio come into governance in 2018, whether now through genuine ballot voting or not, I know they go into that debate. The bottom line is he's been recognized as our president. As per constitution, he has taken the oath. Therefore, he gets an onerous responsibility for make sure say he safeguard our democracy so that we will continue for build on it, so that the mistakes them where the previous government go don't make, where the people then feel say we can go with a new direction. It's therefore become very political paradox for let a government will come with a new direction, portfolio or mantra for begin do bad things then we they equally accuse the previous government for. Now that make us say it is like a self-indictment for let we continue for even say ours is a fledgling democracy after we even don't gain independence in 1961 and subsequently a decade later we gain in the republican status. I think this is a political indictment to all of us as Sierra Leoneans, and therefore because of that indictment, say, he even give we the moral and political right beyond party politics. For let we continue for remind Mr. President say he ought to respect the constitution, so that down the road, if we cannot promote actions or be ultra vires, that is beyond the scope and powers given him as per our constitution, and parliament also fail for call them for account for their actions, and we no want what you call a people's revolution, whereby people then feel say, well, you know what, we they go what you call extra legal status of the state. We will get the judiciary, we get the parliament, we get the executive, and then the peoples, as enshrined in our constitution, will get what you call the political sovereigns in the state. We are the people. The least you want in any country, like what happened at the Arab Spring, now for let the people then rise up. Because you go say you get the police them with guns, you get the military with guns, but leaders them in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, for learn from events in the Arab Spring, then for learn from events in Guinea, then for learn from events in the Gambia, then for learn from events from other countries then, we don't lead to chaos, where, of course, at the end of the day, the president in action and then can lead to that. So this is where it is more of an admonishment that Mr. President, the title of being a president doesn't mean your ego should not listen to the people. It is rather one whereby you for listen to the voices of the people. When you do that, you will able rule at ease, and the people then go there with you for let we transform our country for the better.
Me people they know they watch this is a cast TV, which we regular program Salon for Better without Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay, we now the former presidential spokesman for the former president of Sierra Leone, way na Anis by Kurma. Na him with the time we talk to one directly from Canada. And Mr. Bayraytay, like always, you don't talk the abuse of the constitution by Madabio. Madabio, they feel say Sierra Leone na a democratic state, and democracy, I mean, now the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, where they tend for abuse. The people power, just like a slogan, when Pan-Africanists then get, the people power will never be defeated. Like when they talk so. They push the people in at the wall, they tell them they rebounds. They forget about you and see aircraft gun where they go out around which na the country. They forget about AK-47, they forget about G3. They even do run because the people's power will never be defeated. Now that's what they do from day one.
And that is exactly the point here. Because when you talk about all the military might, look what happened at Sudan.
Yes.
Al-Bashir, he get all the military gadgets. He was a military guy. He get aircraft. By the end of the day, now a university student, now in take the podium, he make a clarion call. We don't want that for we young country. Sierra Leone, we don't go through very difficult times. We don't endure a very devastating war from March 23rd, 1991 until the declaration that the war was over in 2002 by late President Kaba. From there, we try for build. At the end of the day, Tijan Kaba is swell blood. He say, you know what? If for the sake of peace, I can make attend that meeting then at the American embassy then in the day by cutting tree. We then send Jesse Jackson a go all meeting with we as civil society. Then and there, I was a student leader now from a college. Some of we ask me one say how they can make peace with some people here. We don't kill we. At the end of the day, by the time I go on a campaign for good governance, the very low peace agreement we come, we give for the sanko them, all the status them in the agreement. Now we end up go popularize and back across the country for the sake of peace. And therefore, when some of we they take the media, we have a moral responsibility for let that country not go back into chaos. I even remember some of we go into exile in Guinea for just restore the very SLPP and Tijan Kaba government back to power that ended under the auspices of the National Union of Sierra Leone Students, of which I've been getting the opportunity for serve as Secretary General. We do beyond party politics. We look at the bigger picture, even though they and the winner students. Therefore, if we don't get any conflicts in there with thousands of people killed, very innocent and unsuspecting civilians. We don't see child soldiers then. We don't get Ebola. We don't get mudslides. Now we don't get COVID. For goodness sake, the least you go want again now for bring anything we not chaos because of politics. We don't want that our country. Now that make every Sierra Leonean, whether you belong to the SLPP, whether you dey in the APC as an opposition party, whether you belong to any other party, civic societies, we for come very loudly, just like other civil societies and what they do, we then come very eloquently and condemn the actions of Mr. President Marabio. Until we do that in unison, we Sierra Leone, the international community who can support we. But the future and destiny of a country is in our own hands. Now that make even if we in opposition, the opposition get a role in a democracy. Just like waiting Angela Merkel, the former chancellor in Germany, we in a farewell speech, a lengthy one. But the thing we I take from there is a democracy, it is about having critical debates. When you get those critical debates, it will further your democracy. The people will continue to believe in your leadership, and you'll be able to transform your country. Because when you talk about development, it can only happen in an atmosphere where peace and democracy reign and the voices of the people are relevant. That is the old matrix about democracy.
Thank you. Viewers, una with the view. This na Cast TV. With two programs Salon for Better, and we with the former presidential spokesman we Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay, and we talk to him directly from Canada. Mr. Bayraytay, I don't say una don't dey in governance as a presidential spokesman for like 10 years with the former president Ernest Bai Koroma. And since we gain independence, I believe say we census now every 10 years. And I don't understand, I don't know if like maybe something will be small. You get anything we ever call like midterm census, like waiting Mother One can do so before elections? And waiting, if you say that the intention with the midterm census.
Again, it's unfortunate that the governments know they listen to the people. It not mean say if members of the opposition then condemn your actions, do not perceive them say, then they come and make them voices known because of politics. What about if you look at it this way? When I listened to President Bio in speech on the launching of the midterm census, we say the 9th of this month will be census night for Midterm the 10th. He said now for correct the mistakes them will happen in the 2015 census. The constitution very clear, and even the Act of Statistics Sierra Leone, now every 10 years will they get census. People then say this is a waste of money, it not make sense. Why you want for do them? I remember when we be to do the census, then come out very loudly, then condemn. They say, oh, why we forget elections now, census now. It not make sense, they make. But this time, even one of the key partners them, when at the European Union, they don't come out very loudly. They make them position known very clearly say, the midterm census not make sense, it not economically prudent, because it will be a duplication of resources. By the end of the day, the president still insists. Even the political parties, they say, you know what? You know, even can't lay the instrument for the census, this midterm census, you know, can't lay them before parliament the right way. They've been convened for a meeting at Bintumani Hotel, where they want to go do them. At the end of the day, even the members of the opposition, they were not consulted. And it's very, very clear in the constitution that consult them. When you consult them, you have nothing to lose. If they have questions, they will make such clarifications so that for the good of a country. But now look at the position of the All People's Congress Party. They don't come out in a press release and in a press conference very eloquently say, you know what? Because our voices and our views, our concerns have not been addressed before the proclamation of the midterm census, they know they participate, and they don't call on all the members and supporters them and other people and we believe say democracy for thrive, not for allow for them to be counted. So this is what we call the boomerang effect. You want for power for those midterm election census. Now the stakeholders them they say they are not interested because you not do the due diligence or consult them. So at the end of the day, if then you go for go count people and they say no, me party where I so believe in, they say la not participate because the process was flawed. Then are you go able to get accurate results then? Where you say now for the development, now for correct the 2015 census anomalies, and also for able to see how you go come with developments them across the country. Because these are the three issues them where President Bio highlight in his speech where he give for launch the census. So you don't see how sometimes they get what you call the paradox of development. In the process of you striving for say you want this, but other relevant stakeholders are not on board with you. At the end of the day, the desired goal and effect, the results will be skewed, where they bring you back to square one. Law will learn for consult. That is democracy. When we talk about participatory democracy, it is when you make the voices of people where they disagree with you. You recognize them voices them for be relevant in the political discourse. The moment you not do that, trust me, the old notion of democracy, good governance, will be just political slogans.
Okay. My people, Muna, we just they join we this Cast TV, which we program Saloon for Better, and we dey talk to the former presidential spokesman for Anes by Kurma, we na Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay, we dey talk to him directly from Canada. Mr. Bayraytay, like this thing where you just don't elaborate so with this census where they want make, because we then just come into governance, and before then come into governance, wait till then campaign with. They're not able to do and waiting then at the manifesto when a free education. Instead, Alpha Timbo, when I be the then Minister of Education, na then school picking the recitive. And then you get the ACC boss when I Ben Kelfala, where him na ACC boss at the same time na the lawyer for defend the thief man then at the present Mother Bio in regime. And then them promise people and Mother Bio promise you see a white gown, they promise people and say they can build bakery no bill. And can pull that boy now we can get degree for prospective for false leg. We at least now the education minister now we not get natty, we not know sabi natty about education. Then go put on the last what he do now for giving papa fat contract for it the country money. Then they show we drone. Then pick it and a drone and they put an almost something for video events the way they happen. The live we say that drone they deliver medicine in the upline. Who sign at the upline hospital the way no get light where that drone they don't ever go. The live we and that. It not happen. Then tell we about bridge, but now then they deny say they not be tell we say then they build Lunge bridge. But then sell a shobi for go launch the bridge. Bridge no make. All kind light and the light people learn a full man then now. If indeed them begin for do this census, why when they come into governance from day one? No, not tell we say 2021, will they do census for correct the mistake will be happening by the last census? Unless now, when they don't fail, they don't know they all for the racketeering because now them get language where them put in a GTT report for tell say APC and then a racketeer then this and that. Because me, then one day I do I see them like then go and pick them in New York. We be big so. Then the thief pass either you go use English word per se na racketeering. So you know if you say this sense also they want make na district or na waiting and call them or for let them add some population at the southeast so that they go able to rig the 2023 elections, sir.
I read somebody in opinion piece when at the social media. But me, when I dey read at the social media, I know they take everything hook, line, and sinker as gospel truth. I they go a dig. Waiting come out was they say the SLPP don't see say time they catch up with them, and that's all the development agenda things the way they promise the country they're not able to do them, and therefore then look from the experience na parliament where they not being a majority pass them be end up for go pull APC members of parliament them so that then go bring their young people and forget majority, let them get the speakership. Then say because they don't go want me, the president when at the head of the executive, for letting policies them at the parliament then be stalled. So now they want for create more constituencies them now then use strongholds and passive strongholds so that then go able to get more members of parliament them now so that by the time we go into elections, even if they lost the executive, the presidency, then go able to get some members them now parliament. Okay, when you look at that analysis there, even though you can say, okay, you know what, this is an opinion given by somebody, but if they insist on having this census, this midterm, then they end up do waiting this person speculate, then it will bring issues of credibility into the governance of the state. And when your credibility in governance is questioned, trust me, the social contract is being rubbished. And therefore, you have no moral or political leeway for you to continue for say you have that moral standing for continuing governance. So for me, the premise should have been, what are the concerns? If I were Mr. President, all I'll do is I'll call the other political parties as stipulated by law. Say, you know what? Let me consult now. I want to do this midterm census here. Statistics Sierra Leone don't come with evidence-based research that we have to do this. And if we do this, it will be in the best interest of the country. You listen to the divergent, if any, views of the other political parties. Not treat the opposition as enemies in politics. Their voices, them very equally important. I remember when we fought the Ebola, when Mother Bio came from England, he saying one can join the government for fight the Ebola. President say, sure, you are a Sierra Leonean. Let's put politics apart. It is for the best interest of the country. Then give money. He go do your sensitization. He go and talk to people and say Ebola is real, etc. Now me this, I've been doing our information ministry, where the former spokesman for the SLPB, Tambasam, Honorable Tambasam, he go meet me in the office. He say, Mr. Bayraytay, I want Leona give me money. Me self give me your own voice. I get where I go now the southeast. I go talk to me people them. Let them know say Ebola now all day by this fact. I send and go na the Ebola office then ten and then a New Englandville. He go there and go get money. He go do your thing. That is the way you run a state. That politics of winner takes all. For Passam, the 21st century, the politics is very dynamic. People's power. I always tell people let them try lay hands on this book for let them read them. When I want Peter Ackerman and David Ducal, and the writer, a force more powerful. That book they give you the intricacies of how the voices of the people they become relevant in a democracy. But if we in Sierra Leone, I remember when Obama go to Africa, when he come into governance, he say Africa will not need strong leaders, now strong institutions than we need. Some people let me just clap, but they don't know waiting now the implications. Strong institutions will not be built in a vacuum. It need bold leadership. And that bold leadership, the expectation is all the stakeholders in the political spectrum for able to come and say, you know what, this is wrong. It is not about my party for continue in governance. I will do it for my country. So when you take that bold step as a leader, you become a very strong leader, and that action we they take, it translates into the institutions. Just like waiting Mr. Charles Mangai been do, where he say, listen, even me as an attorney general and minister of justice, if I give una instructions to go arrest somebody, even as somebody in opposition, una defy me. That is statement there, whether by coincidence or design, he end up making them sack him as Minister of Justice and Attorney General. So you see the relationship between good governance and political institutions in a state and the voices of the people when they are the political sovereigns in the state. until somebody, you don't need for be a political scientist or be a good leader. All you need for know is there is a constitution, and the reason why we get constitution is the constitution is the embodiment and the will of the people. Afterwards, every nation, the people get the type of governance and constitution they deserve. And therefore, if the 1991 constitution, with all its seeming imperfections, they, we for respect am say it is the Bible by which we dey use for govern we state.
So, Mr. Berete, and wait I be one say again, because we believe say the opposition party when at the All People Congress and be put a press release by Alaji Usman Fode Asane, when at the Secretary General for the All People Congress. And he say let people they not participate in this census. He tell all the members them. And this midterm census where he say you know every day in our constitution for midterm census. And this be don't spell out by the European Union when them be say this census way then call midterm census, and a European Union and they sponsor all them then they say a unprecedented census where at least them be put another report where they make this year October 29, 2021. And you know if you say because Ambassador for the years and they don't pull press release for the All People Congress members, they're not for participate. You know if you say because they get the usual things them for intimidate people them. You know if you say then go use the ACC and also the judiciary for let them harass Ambassador Fude Yasane and other members of the opposition party when the All People Congress regarding this press release?
If that may happen, it will be very unfortunate. The reason being, if you go to section 25 in chapter 3, cap 6 of the 1991 constitution, it very clear say everybody get right to freedom of speech and expression as long as it is within the confines of the law. Payansanena is Sierra Leonean, and he hold a very, very, very important position in our country as a Secretary General of a very big opposition party, we are the All People's Congress Party. If he call on in people and say they're not for participate, it's up to the people if they want participate. But he don't make imposition on behalf of your party. At the end of the day, all if me and our president Mada Bill, all I'll do is I'll call the APC, I'll call other political parties. I'll say let's sit down and have a conversation. The census is not about SLPP. The census is a national census, midterm census. Your concerns, if I didn't listen to you earlier on, I've just read your press release. What is going on? Let them come with them. Trust me, ego not for them. Politics say I should always be right. I go make clear Mother Bio and in very close aids. Then read one book where they call Dr. Faustus, where na one Christopher Marlowe na in right. Na very short book, but it's a very contemporary novel. We na about somebody we believe say he should always be right. He want get all the wealth and power in this world. He go sign a covenant with the devil. At the end of the day, after the 24 years, he say may then do anything if it mean for losing life. And politics not for life. Politics na biscuit. Usa you know they expect time na they eat a broke. Now that make way they in power. Treat your fellow human beings with compassion. Listen to the views of the opposition. Just like what Angela Merkel mentioned, there should be critical debates. The moment you become afraid of critical debates, then trust me, you can only be surrounded by cohorts and people who are sycophants. At the end of the day, they will mislead you. And when the time reach for their power, you left power, those very people will abandon you until you learn from that lesson day. When you day in power, power is not for life. We rule the country with compassion, abide by the constitution, and no say the way where you left power, how you want for let them exercise power over you, where you did it, exercise power with that compassion. That makes you a better person.
You know, just to join with this Nasser Cast TV with program Salon for Better. we know the former presidential spokesman, Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay, will talk to us directly from Canada, where we can usually a political scientist. Mr. Bayraytay, because once we left you now, go, say you get for good word that thing. What do you think about the current issue on human rights and also the economic rights and democracy and good governance in the country? Because we understand, say now, thing then this way will not be the, I don't know if now the 60s or early 70s, where they about kidnapping, price control not there. So, Mr. Bayraytay, what you want to talk about that before we carry round up low left you go? Are you they, because I know say you get you people in at the ground there, how you they see how the country they go with such kind things?
When we talk about good governance and democracy, we don't cover a large part of that in a conversation about what we call constitutionalism.
Yes,
That
sir.
is when you get to respect the constitution, will bring you to power, and the oath where you take say you respect and defend the constitution. At the end of the day, I remember prior to 2018, when they go into the elections, they say the country tranga, the country don't mona, APC no de sidoya, the country tranga, angry boku.
Atologbo no de
Well,
sidoya angry boku, eh?
yes,
Okay.
angry boku.
Yeah.
Well, now some of me party them way they inside SLPP.
Uh-huh.
When I dey remind them about that sing day, they say, "Brah, that sing day, you know why area again?" They say, because right now, the tin tranga. I say, we say tin tranga, waiting happen. So wetin me can do, I dey call people and randomly what in Canada, yeah, because you no go want talk about Sierra Leone issues them where you know they dey. But now, thank God to the social media and on a platform, where they get very current issues and where they happen. But me, they call across the country because I get all over Sierra Leone. No side, no day one, no get people and contacts. What they call them? I remember I called somebody in Bunumbu, in a Kailaun district. When I call, I say, how is it? He said the country tranga. I say, why you say so? And this na somebody within Peje West, Bunumbu 3, na the junction for Gomanowa, because I know that area very well. Now he say because he say first time when he get 10,000 leons, where he dey go buy brigade, he say the brigade is big. He say, but now the brain is very small, and not they do for in two picking them. So that is street economics 101. You don't need for go from a college for go study that. Now that make when I've been listening to Professor Kelfala Kalon, the bank governor, where he talk about $68 million bribe to the people them, even though some people they don't can strenuously defend, say, now a slip of the tongue. The only way they able to transform a country, now where you get a balance of trade. I only wish that money didn't for don't pump them into agriculture so that the import to the import rest and yabas we will able empower local farmers them so that that forex day, that foreign exchange day. Because when you know get what you call balance of trade, for let you able export, empower the cocoa producer, the coffee producers them. Look at the world markets within the in there so that you utilize what you call by economics a comparative advantage. That thing where you able grow with they in demand at the international market with less resource inputs. That and the way you sell them, you they get more for foreign exchange. Where you get them compared to how much you they import, you they balance your books them. That and this old wahala about forex, you get for go bribe people the way they import, etc. And they use the word there bribe in quotes because I'm just borrowing it from the bank governor in statement. At the end of the day, that is the way you transform an economy. Because I privy to a study undertaken by the Ministry of Agriculture, where they been do years back with the support of the World Bank, where they say just two chiefdoms now country, Kafu Bulom and Lokomasama, when it come to the growing of onions, they can able grow onions and feed the country and export to neighboring countries. And meanwhile, the government was subsidizing over $6 million just for the importation of onions. Why would we have to import onions to Sierra Leone? First time, even rice, we export rice from Tomabom, we get rice, Rokupo Reside Station. They were utilized. So in the new direction, in their manifesto, they alluded to this. we expect them to have used all the economists that we then get in governance, the Boku Bookman them, for let them able utilize, for let them able for transform our economy. But right now, I will tell you, say, the economy they in a very sorrowful state, they in an abysmal state, and we need for make sure, say, we move in a very robust way so that all these constitutional issues and waiting people and care about and say bread and butter issues. Some man they not care about politics. We do clean, then go na them farm, then for able come, then go buy small thing, then eat and feed them family them. But this too much politics, so you forget for transform the economy, they bring more chaos. Because not forget waiting the sociologist John Dollard say. He say when people they act one because thing and anger, then it can lead to frustration and it can lead to chaos. We don't want that in our country. I refer you again to the Arab Spring as a point of reference.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bayraytay. Me people who only watch we this is Siakas TV. We do to regular program Salon for Better, and we talk to the former presidential spokesman, where now Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay for the Honest by Kuruma government. Mr. Bayraytay, before they let you go, or before they give you last word, would they get I get some message that we come inside where member of you party them, then they ask you still they oversee why they not tongue, and they want to know whose term they go not tongue, because I mean you know a real political scientist for the whole country, not just for APC, because you know the in and out of Sierra Leone, because you don't be a presidential spokesman for 10 years. They want to know what to make you there and who's 10 and they expect you for lay good on free tongue.
Thank you very much, Abdulai Mansare. This question here, a lot of people they ask them. I'm not surprised where they send them for you as a question as well. I not be one come in the first place. I not be one come overseas at all. I've been there Canada and I left everything I left my family. I said I go contribute to my nation. When after 2018, the president where I serve as spokesman in time done, and it happened say we lost back the elections. When from one go 2012, I be the lecturer from a college, political science. But now volunteer, I be the volunteer, then not be the pay me. So when we lost the elections, I make some moves so that then for regularize me, I continue for lecture so that then go they pay me. That one did not happen. And the reality is I don't get job again. I was jobless in Sierra Leone. Whereas I get another profession, if I can, I go able to work and support friends, support my family and my party, because my second studies were doing now in social work. Me na a clinical registered social worker. So I come back, I dey work, at least I dey support me comrades them and my country. We get what you call that diaspora transfers. I'm part of that. So at the end of the day, you know realistically just left what you they do now and go. I want when I go, la no way be in way me comrades and they expect say at least Bayraytay don't come, he will able to support with small financially. But when the time reach, are they in constant touch with the leadership of the party? I don't reassure them, say I am on my way coming, inshallah. I don't discuss that with my wife. My wife don't give me in clean slate and endorsement that, hey, yes, as long as your passion is for the country and I see you beyond party politics, go and serve your country. So I'm happy at the come so that at the end of the day, we will able to go and promote to democracy in Sierra Leone. I think that is it. But at the end of the reality is, Mr. Mansare, it's very hard for let you left your job. You just go. Now Sierra Leone, you not get work there, your family there. You know one begin go back, they go text people and say, I don't come a day bad with the perception they will come to Babylon. You forget but cook up on a yarn. But me a very modest person. I they cut me coat according to my size. But when the time reach, I they go now that make I appreciate you now a lot. Or now they give me this opportunity in them platform there where they all over the world, including Sierra Leone, where then they hear me say I'm giving my own invaluable contribution towards good governance and democracy in our country. I not hear you at all.
I say, yeah, somebody just make comment say when sense man they talk, at least people and they send comment, but like me we sit down I wait no say you know political scientists and people who they view over the unless negative people and then go and bring negative comments. You understand eh? So one person say we sense man they talk, art for no, and the other person they say you know get no value arguments. You guys are deliberately choose to abandon participating in the census and you are trying to make yourself relevant. Because me no say, then why now then people there Governor Clarkson in prayer again for facts. This person will make this comment, but the other person will say, where sense man they talk, art for no. I just want to let church say they let you round up because then kind of and Governor Clarkson in prayer again for Kile. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I appreciate the comments where the viewers then give, including even those where they say we as a party that will not get valid reason no for participate. That in view. For me, I don't want to contradict myself, say in politics, we for encourage divergent views. That person they in view, I want for recognize them. But at the same time, though, politics is not focus why the APC not participate. The question for me is why the government not involve the political parties before they even come with the midterm elections. That what we then can say na Creole what you for them, no look usa you for them, na usa you walk your foot. So that now we call inverse opinions. So that person will say, okay, Bayraytay, you they talk fine. I they appreciate that very modestly, but that is just me. I they talk from my heart. I believe in what I'm saying, and I they do them in a non-condescending way because at the end of the day, I they disagree with the president. I would disagree with the people them around them, but I they do them with civility because some people them feel say now only when you use vulgarity they make you point. For me, I don't transcend that. I don't go beyond that because I'm a leader. I haven't served my country in a very, very high profile position as presidential spokesman. So people they say I ought to know better. So I'm living to that expectation, not by design, but in a very conscious effort. Because at the end of the day, we therefore serve as role models for the young one them where they come up so that may they understand, say, democracy, the rule of law, good governance, the voices of the opposition are very relevant, just as how we recognize Mother Bio when it comes Ugia and Kopo Dentenende for go fetch the Ebola as part of political inclusion.
Mr. Bayraytay, we waiting at the last word where you want to give people and viewers there over there because we want to let you go now because we don't hold you time for too long today. So waiting at the last word where you want to give people in, sir.
My last word, I will summarize in this way. Lord, we the people them for go beyond that thing about the politics, say it is government versus the opposition. Lord, we look at Sierra Leone as the green, white, and blue. It's very important. If Mother Bio they do wrong thing because of the benefit for them and not they tell them the truth, now a disservice to them and now a disservice to Sierra Leone. Because God forbid, Astagfirullah 7 times. If anything happen in our country because of bad governance, because of unconstitutional way of doing things, I think say the Americans and say the buck stays with the president. Mother Bio not go able to vindicate himself because we go all up accountable that your actions and policies now don't lead to chaos, even though we they continue for fervently pray. Say, as fledgling as our democracy is, we should not degenerate into chaos. We should find other civilized methods to resolve our differences, either politically or as a nation. So my last word is, I will tell viewers them plenty thank you we join in this program. But as always, Sarah Cast, you've always been there contributing in a nationalistic way to the development of our country, because una TV station, una they open and to members of the opposition, una they open and to people and we align with the APC, members of the APC, and at the same time, una mission, when I read bottom, una put country first, because una statement was Salon for better. So I tell una plenty thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to future opportunities as always.
To regular program Salon for Better. As una don hear for the former presidential spokesman for President Anes Bai Koroma, and Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay will be the talk to and directly from Canada. And they don't talk a lot of things then we now be there in line with we now not be understand waiting the happen. They don't align them for now at least now know all waiting the happen at the country in terms of economy, human rights, and even suspension of the Auditor General. All the inside they don't touch for we understand. So my people we will continue for the camp to now at any time. And this today we program today the sound engineer Amjad Jalomiba, and we talk to Mr. Abdulai Bayraytay direct from Canada, and me na Abdulai Mansari Unatata.